Hiya, Martin here. Thank you for joining me for this week's Turning Project video. I hope you are all well. This week I have made a bit of a return to some colouring on the last Sycamore blank that I've got. And this piece has been sort of inspired by a chap I follow on Instagram who goes by the name of @woodbug1. I can't remember the gentleman's name off the top of my head, but I'll put a link to his Instagram feed in the description. His work is spectacularly good. He's an English guy, he's up north somewhere, and his work is really inspirational. So go and take a peek at Woodbug1. If you're on Instagram, he's well worth a follow, and if you're not on Instagram, just follow the link and you can see his feed on a PC. So this week we have a coloured sycamore platter, or sycamore bowl even, with a sort of OG shape with a domed rim wall, rim wall, and it's been coloured, and I think you might be able to see the speckled pattern in the coloration there, but you'll see how I did that in the video. A really nice piece to turn, not particularly technical, but an awful lot of fun, and a fairly small bowl in the centre. A really nice project, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't know what I'm going to call it, but you already know what I'm going to call it because it's in the video title. So at the moment I don't know what I'm going to call it. So here is how I turned the coloured sycamore bowl. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Right then, the plan for today's project is to take this blank of sycamore and make a bowl out of it, but with a coloured rim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the chuck, and I want a nice wide rim on the piece, because I'm going to stretch this stuff, which is the kind of stuff you get as a sort of a draw liner. So there's lots of little holes in it, and I want to stretch that over the top of the rim, or what will be the rim, and then airbrush in some colour and see how that comes out. I'm going to go in here. It's not the world's greatest drill, this one, so I can leave that back there, and then I can get the piece onto the worm screw and get ready to turn. So with the lathe running fairly slowly at the moment, I'm going to turn it round using a freshly sharpened bowl gouge with my full face shield on. Now the piece is nice and round, the pith was really quite hard. The pithy bit was really quite tough, so I might have to do some stabilisation of that with some super glue, because it's tearing out a little bit. So now I need to square off the bottom and put in the recess for reversing in the chuck. Now I've got a little bit further into the wood, I can see what I want to get rid of, and I really don't like this this piece here, and I think there's a piece that runs down here as well, which I don't like either. So this is going to be a bit of an OG kind of shape, which I haven't turned for a little while, so that'll be fun. I'm going to put a foot on the piece about there, I think, maybe a bit wider. Somewhere between those two marks, most likely. the foot will be. The pith here that's running through the piece has kind of spoilt it a bit. But sanded down to 400 now, and I'm going to add a coat of sanding sealer to the back of the piece, and then rub that back with 0000 wire wool, just like normal. And then I'm going to apply a new version of Hampshire Sheen. Well, yes, it is a new version of Hampshire Sheen. It's a Hampshire Sheen sort of high gloss, which I'm kind of developing for pen turners. But it needs to be tested on something, so this piece is going to be the piece. Right, I'm going to let the sealer dry and then cut it back with 0000 wire wool and reverse it in the chuck, and we'll be good to go. I've sanded back or cut back the sanding sealer with 0000 wire wool, and in this pot is the new version of Hampshire Sheen, which is a high gloss version, hopefully. I haven't tested it yet. It is stiffer than Hampshire Sheen original, so should just need to be able to put a little bit on, and I'm going to put it on with the lathe running slowish. I've let Hampshire Sheen dry off now for a few minutes, and now I'm going to see how the high gloss tester works, how it comes up even. So I've got the lathe going nice and quick. Get a little bit of heat into it as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So now I can take it off the worm screw and reverse it in the chuck, ready to do the rim, which is the exciting colouring bit, and the inside of the bowl, and I'll explain how I'm going to try and avoid the pith in the actual scooping out of the bowl. With the piece reversed in the chuck now, I can face off the piece ready to apply the colour after I've sanded it, and I've got quite a lot of stock I need to take off from here, so that'll take a little while, but I won't bore you with all of that. So I've got the piece spinning nicely. I've got the face how I wanted it, and what I forgot to mention is I'm going to put a curve on the top of the rim a little bit, for reasons you'll see why in a minute. And you can see here that the pith is beginning to come through the piece, and there's quite a hard bit there that was giving me some problems when I was facing it off. I'm going to mark on the outside of the bowl roughly where the foot is, making sure that I'm inside this part of the pit, if that makes sense. So that there is going to be the bowl, which is just about as broad as the foot. So I've got a nice area that I can sand off to make a nice big wide rim for the colour. So I'm going to make a little mark in the piece where the wall's going to go. Right, there we go. That's the piece sanded down to 400 on what will be the top of the wall, or the rim. And the same whenever you sand something down where you're going to apply colour, your finish needs to be absolutely spotless. So make sure that you can't see any tool marks where you want to apply colour, and you can't see any sanding marks, obviously. Now the first thing I want to do with this piece now is I want to try and get some white into it, if I can. So I'm going to put a couple of gloves on. The spirit stains that are in the airbrush, or will be in the airbrush, are very unforgiving when it comes to staining skin. So couple of gloves is always a good idea. With the lathe spinning quite quickly, I'm going to put some even coats, or quite a big coat of white on, just to see if I can lighten the top up. Now as I'm talking, I'm not wearing a respirator. When spraying I would normally wear a respirator, but as I'm talking at the moment I'm not wearing it. And I've now got some dark blue, some royal blue in here, and I'm going to put a thick line, a faded line from the very edge of where I'm going to have the wall out just a little bit, but you'll see. So get the lathe spinning quick. Just like so. Now the next bit, I need to get the netting and a pair of scissors because I don't need all of this stuff. So I'm going to cut off enough of the net to go round the piece. But I won't be spinning the lathe at this point, and to be honest I've got no idea how this is going to turn out, having never done it before. So I'm going to slide the net under there. I'm going to stick it. I'm going to stick it down, so bear with me, and I'm going to stick it down. Finally, this was a real nightmare to do. I've put the sticky draw liner type stuff over the top of the piece. So I hope you can see these tiny little squares that the piece has been covered in. So this stage is to kind of put some blue squares onto the piece. So I've got the airbrush again, and I'm going to do this without having the lathe running, and I've got no idea how it's going to turn out. So I'm going to just add in the colour kind of randomly. And then I'm going to change the colour. I'm going to go to the light blue, light blue. And then some green, I think. No, some yellow. I'm going to go with yellow because that will turn some of the blue green. Yellow. There it is. That will do. I've let it dry off enough now, and now I think you can see the netting coming off, kind of, and you can see the result. Hundreds and thousands, or lots and lots of little dots and lines of colour all around the piece. That's come out better than I'd expected, actually. I'm rather pleased with that. Now the next thing I need to do is hollow out the bowl. And the other thing about hollowing out the bowl after you've done the colouring on the rim is that it'll give the stain longer to dry out nice and thoroughly before you apply any sanding sealer or finish. Let's get the lathe spinning nice and quick. Remembering that my bowl wall is going to start about here. And there we are. There is the hollowed out bowl. I think it looks really super, and I haven't even sanded it down yet. I'm really pleased with this. There's the piece. I'm going to sand it down now to 400 grit on the inside, being very careful not to approach the edge of the colour, because if I catch it on the edge of the colour, the whole rim is messed up. So I've got to be really careful. And I did actually miss most of the pith. There's just a little bit there left, and a little bit over here, and a tiny bit here on the left over here. So all in all, I'm really happy with that. Sanded the inside now carefully down to 400 grit, and I've just got some paper towel, and I'm just rubbing off any excess stain off the rim of the piece, because that will be lifted off by the sanding sealer when I apply it, and possibly blended into the rest of it, and that's not what I want to have happen. So I'm just rubbing it off, just taking off the excess. Right, I've got a new piece of towel now, and I've got the acrylic sanding sealer. I don't want to use the cellulose sealer because it has a habit of blending the colours and making them run into each other, which isn't ideal. And the vast majority of the excess stain has now come off the piece. So working from the inside of the piece to the outside, I'm going to apply the sealer. So that's all I need for that. I'm going to let it dry, and then cut it back with 0000 wire wool, and then apply Hampshire sheen. Right, so now I'm going to lightly cut the sanding sealer back with the 0000 wire wool, clean it off with the paper towel, and then apply Hampshire sheen. And there we are. I hope you enjoyed today's project. A nice coloured sycamore bowl with a nice wide rim. I really enjoyed turning this piece. It was good fun, and it's been buffed with Hampshire sheen and coloured as you saw. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Please do like, share and subscribe. I always reply to all of my comments as well, so if you do feel like leaving a comment, then please do so in the box below, and I will look forward to seeing you again on Friday for Turner's Journey episode 25, I think. Yep, episode 25 coming up this Friday, and I'll see you next week for another project video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.